student. So we have already completed our second video. This is your third video. So the question is, relate the reluctance with the following. The options are A. Weber per meter, second ampere turn per Weber, Weber per ampere, then ampere per meter. So we know that reluctance, this is related to your magnetic field. So reluctance is, this is the resistance offered in your magnetic field. Okay, so the reluctance, it will be your MMF by flux. So MMF is a magnetomotive force. The unit of MMF is ampere turn and the flux unit is Weber. So the correct answer is ampere turn Weber. Option B is the correct answer. Coming to the next question, question number 22. Which of the following laws is together called iron laws? So iron laws, this is also related to your transformer. So the iron laws, the options are hysteresis laws and frictional laws, hysteresis laws and copper laws, eddy current laws and hysteresis laws, eddy current laws and frictional laws. So the answer is eddy current laws and hysteresis laws. Okay. So the iron laws, it is the combination of your hysteresis laws plus eddy current laws. And if you write the formula for the hysteresis laws, your WH will be your hysteresis constant V max to the power 1.6 into F into V. Okay. So your, this is hysteresis constant, V max is the flux, maximum flux density. So F is the frequency and V is the volume of the core. And the formula for eddy current loss, it will be your V max square F square T square. Okay, where V max is the same and F is the frequency and T is the thickness of the core. This is the volume of the core and this is the thickness of the core. So we have to remember the formula. The loss of your iron loss, it is Wi is the, you have to remember the formula, Wi is the WH plus We. So the correct answer is question number, your answer number C, eddy current loss and hysteresis loss. So come to the next question, question number. So coming to the question number 23. In the speed time curve, the train, in the speed time curve of a train, the speed is in dash and the time is in dash. So whenever you want to plot the speed and curve, you want to plot your speed versus time, then what is the unit of your speed and what is the unit of your time? So this is your, the answer will be, answer A, it is kilometer per hour and second. Your speed will be in kilometer per hour. Okay, and your time will be in second. Okay, this is the fundamental concept or this is a fundamental question. So this answer is your answer number A. So moving to the next question, question number 24. So moving to the next question. So identify the important feature of a DC series motor. We know that your DC series motor. So the important feature of the DC series motor, the options are high starting torque, medium starting torque, zero starting torque, low starting torque. So we know that your DC series motor, your torque is directly proportional to Ia square. Okay. So that means it will there is having your high starting torque. For this reason, we are using the DC series motor for your traction purpose. Question may come that in your traction purpose, which types of motor are basically used. So the answer will be your DC series motor. Okay. So moving to the next question, question 25. So the question 25. So the question is 4F2D. Okay, it is a dash number. So we know that in our number system we are having 4 types of number. One is binary, decimal, octal and hexadecimal. Okay, the options are there also. So from these we have to choose which type of number system is this. So this is basically your hexadecimal number system. Okay, so how to know? In your hexadecimal number system, your decimal part is present. Okay, from 0 to 9 and from A to F. These values are there. So all these values are present in this question. So this will be your hexadecimal number system. So moving to the next question. So next question. The 3 lamps are connected in series across the 120 volt supply, and it takes a current of 1.5 ampere. If the resistance of the 2 lamps are 30 ohm, then what is the resistance of the third lamp? Okay. So viewing that we are having 3 lamps and the connection is in series connection. Supply voltage is 120 volt and it draws a current of 1.5 ampere and the resistance is given 30 ohm. So I am drawing the diagram first. Lamp 1, lamp 2, lamp 3. So 3 lamps are connected across a 120 volt supply. So it will be your 120 volt. Your lamp 1, lamp 2 and lamp 3, and the current is your 1.5 ampere. So this will be your 1.5 ampere, and the resistances of the lamp, 2 lamps are 30 ohm, means 30 ohm and 30 ohm. So the resistance of the third lamp, the question is to find out the resistance of your third lamp. Okay. So we know that from the Ohm's law we can find out your voltage equal to I into R. So from this relation we can find out the total resistance here, R equal to V by I, and the voltage value is given 120 and your current it is given here 1.5 ampere. So 120 divided by 1.5, it will come here 80 ohm. Okay, and as this is your series combination, so the equivalent resistance or the total resistance of the circuit, total resistance will be your R1 plus R2 plus R3. So R1, R2, R3 are the resistance of lamp 1, lamp 2 and lamp 3. So from this the total resistance is your 80 ohm and the two resistance are given there, 30 ohm plus 30 ohm, then R3. So R3 will be your 80 minus 60, it will be your 20 ohm. Okay. So from these options here 20 ohm, B 30 ohm, C 40 ohm and D 10 ohm. So option A is the correct answer, 20 ohm. So moving to the next question, question number 27. So question number 27. So the circuit shown in the figure, your pressure coil of 2 wattmeter are connected to dash. Okay. So this is the diagram, this is the circuit, and there is having your wattmeter 1 and wattmeter 2. 2 wattmeters are there, and this is your current coil and this one is the pressure coil. So the pressure coil, it is connected to your, from the 3-phase supply it is connected to your B terminal. Okay. So from the options your A, B, C, D, from the option your option A is your R, option B is Y, option C is B and option D is neutral. Okay. So from that you know the pressure coil is connected to your B, your means phase B. So option C is the correct answer, B phase. So next question, question number 28. So question number 28, the two bulbs are rating 230 volt 60 watt and 230 volt 100 watt are connected in parallel across the supply. So identify the correct statement. Okay, so we are having 230 volt 60 watt and 230 volt 100 watt. Two bulbs are connected in parallel connection. So parallel connection, then the options are your the 60 watt bulb will glow brighter, the 60 watt, then neither bulb will glow, then both will glow easily equally, then fourth one is the 100 watt bulb will glow brighter. Okay, so if we draw the diagram, first bulb, so this is the condition for parallel connection. So this is your bulb number 1, this is the bulb number 2. So bulb 1 rating is 230 volt 60 watt, so it is of 60 watt 230 volt, and it is of 100 watt and 230 volt, and this is connected to your supply parallelly. So as it is connected to the supply parallelly, that means here whatever the voltage of bulb 1, voltage of bulb 1 and voltage of bulb 2 is same voltage. Okay, so for the brighter operation or the glowing of the brighter or brighter glow, we have to find out the power of individual bulb, means how much power it is dissipating after providing the supply. If the higher power will be there, then it will glow brighter. Okay, so we are having the formula power P equal to VI. Okay, and your I equal to your V by R. So finally we can write P equal to V square by R. Okay, so to find out the power of your bulb 1, so power 1 it will be your V square by R. So supply voltage your V square by R is given here, supply voltage V square by R. So the supply voltage is 230 volt, and the resistance, we have to find out the resistance of individual bulb. Okay, so from 230 volt and 60 watt, as the power is given P equal to 60 watt, P equal to 60, and the V square is your 230 square by R. Okay, so here R will be your 230 square by 60. Okay, let it be R1 or it will be for your bulb 1, then for bulb 2 R2, again it is 230 square by bulb 2, this is your wattage of your 100 watt. Okay, so from that we can find out here the resistance of your bulb 1 is more and the resistance of your bulb 2 is less here. Okay, resistance of bulb 1 is more and resistance of bulb 2 will be less. Okay, if you consider the case and put on the case here, if the resistance is more here, that means your power will be less. Okay, if the resistance is more, then power will be less, and if the resistance is less, your power will be more here, because your P is inversely proportional to R. Okay, so from this relation we find out your 100 watt bulb will get your more power, so this will glow brighter. Okay, so this is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer. So question number 29. The question is two coupled coil with L1 and L2 0.5 Henry have a coupling coefficient of K equal to 0.75. The turn ratio N1 is to N2. So it has asked to find out the turn ratio N1 is to N2. Options are there: 0.5, 1, then 4, 2. These all are options. So we know that your inductance L, which is equal to the formula for inductance L, is equal to mu N square A divided by L. So this is your formula, and N is the number of turn, A is the area of cross section, L is the length of the coil. So length of the solenoid. So like that, the solenoid will be present like that, and these are the coils, these are the winding. Okay, this is makes a solenoid, and this is the length of the coil. This is L, and this is your area of cross section. So from that, if you draw the formula, so your L is equal to, or L is directly proportional to your n square, number of turn square. So from that, your L1 divided by L2 will be N1 square divided by N2 square. So if you want to find out your N1 and N2, N1, N2, because the question is that to find out your ratio of N1 is to N2. So N1 by N2 is equal to your root over of L1 is to L2, and the L1 and L2, the value are same. So this is your 1, and the ratio of N1 is to N2 will be 1 here. So from these 4 options, your option number C is the correct answer. So this is the last question. Is it possible to have a current in a transmission line under no load condition? So the condition is there under no load. Our question is to find is it possible? Is it possible having the current in the transmission line? Okay. So the options are here. So in the transmission line, when it flows the power is in the transmission line. But after your, when you cut the supply, or whenever there is no load, means consumption is not there, but we are getting some of your current. So it is due to your capacitance effect of your system. So the question, the answer is your A. So why it is present? In your transmission line, your inductive as well as capacitive both are present. So due to no load condition, if there is no load, the inductive nature, it will just reduced, means only the capacitance will be there. So the nature of the capacitance is to store the charge, and in your transmission line it balance your reactive power. Okay, VAR, it increase your reactive power. For this reason, your sending end voltage, or for this reason, whatever the voltage you will send in the receiving end voltage, you will get more voltage. Voltage will be higher in your receiving end side. So this is otherwise called your Ferentic effect. Due to this, your some amount of current is there in your transmission line whenever there is no load is present. Okay. So answer A is the correct answer. Thank you, students. With your view and comments, we have completed our third video. So be with us for our next upcoming, and subscribe and like and view our video. Thank you.